evening, you guys. So, there's like a bird chirping outside. It's not really late. What is it? Oh, it's 8:15. God, it doesn't feel like 8:15. Anyway, so, there's been some stuff going on in the background with Lex and with our family, and I have chosen not to talk about it. And you guys have seen her boyfriend in some of the vlogs, very short little snippets, but he's been in there. Well, he's no longer part of the picture because he was abusing Lex. It took a lot for her to tell us, and I think it came out purely on accident. She was annoyed by something else, and we kind of saw it coming because there was abuse to the dog, just overly aggressive, and the discipline was extreme, and there we go. And then I had told her, if he can do that to an animal, he can do it to you. And it offended him, and then he did it. So we've been kind of dealing with that. We had to force the issue of the breakup. And I think we kind of like sent a mixed message, because though I don't hide it, but I don't make it publicly known, I have been in 2 abusive relationships since my kids have been alive, and they have kind of seen both of them, one being by a boyfriend and one by my first husband. And yes, if you know the deal, you know who my first husband was. And so, yes, it was Anthony. And so they see that, or she sees in particular, she can see, or has seen, that a man can change if he wants to. And not all men, though the statistics are really low, that they don't typically stop hitting. It just gradually gets worse. But she saw her father go from hitting to nothing. He's never laid a hand on me in that situation. Our relationship is 100 times better than it was before. We were young, dumb, and both wanted to be right. And I think that played a huge part. I do agree with the divorce. I do believe it should have happened, and I am glad it happened. We came together much stronger, better people. And so she thinks that he could change the situation. It happened more than once. When we found out, we made her end things. She wanted to do it in person. She was told not to leave our front porch in case something did happen. And she did. And I requested that no contact be made. I was not listened to, so the contact was still being made. We had gone to Portland for those 5 days, and she had him over. I am disappointed in her. As far as I know, he didn't lay a hand on her any other time. After that, just very abusive still to her, just mentally and verbally. And she willingly put it up with it. And I know it takes everyone their own amount of time to want to leave that or not be involved in that. But I hoped that my daughter wouldn't go through it. But I showed her I was a victim to abuse, and then I showed her that you didn't have to put up with it. So it's a big fat mixed message. And now I found out more stuff, and then when she wouldn't get back with him, he went after my friend's daughter, who's like family. And I'm just pissed. I don't know what other word to say, but I am. There's no excuse. This is someone that he had made fun of, so this is just out of spite to get to Lex. And then, of course, when she confronted him about it, he made a suicidal comment to drag her back in, and she blocked him. I'm proud of her, because that was the type of manipulation. If I can't be with you, I don't want to be here anymore, was constantly, stuff like that was said. And so manipulation was key here. And I'm proud that she made the decision to pretty much tell him to F off, though she was caught in some lies, so I don't know how much she is or isn't talking to him, but she's got to make that decision, and she's got to come to terms with it being over on her own. Mom can't help with this one. Anyway, so that's some of the stuff. I think Anthony's coming up. Oh yeah. So that's some of the stuff we've been dealing with. What's up? I can see like straight up your nose. If you had a brain, I could see it. Anyway.
Where's the girl?
Downstairs. Stomp for her. Or use Google when it wants to work. I swear our Google homes are getting worse. Anyway, unfortunately, like I said, I was in an abusive relationship too. And it didn't stop with my first husband. I found one who was...
even worse.
No, because he never once. Bruises can go away. Words are much worse. Anyway, for me, I find that in my situation. Until just one day, he threatened me, and I stood up, and I'm like, embellishing here, like a foot taller than him. And
really an embellishment.
And I said, well, if you're feeling froggy, jump. We used to get in fights all the time about Anthony. He's over here shaking his head.
Yeah, you did. Supposedly. I don't know, I wasn't here.
Because he wanted to talk crap about Anthony, and I didn't want my children to hear it. I didn't want to hear it. And even though I divorced him, and I'm the one that set forth this ball, and we went to the parenting classes together, I was laying my head on his shoulder because I was tired.
You still love me.
I moderately like you now. I don't want to smother you with a pillow anymore. Anyway, so she's not coming.
Smothering going on.
Anyway, and he wanted to talk
Lex!
to my kids bad about their father, and I was not having that. If I was to take the kids to see their father, what would you agree? Barely was allowed to talk to you.
His idea was you were supposed to hate me.
Yes, and he just expected it to be that way.
Because he hated his.
Yeah.
He expected that you were supposed to be the same way that he was, and everybody was supposed to act the same way that he did, because that's what was expected.
We divorced each other because it's something that neither one of us wanted it, but it was something we needed. Can I have red vines?
What are those?
Or the rope?
We knew that we were not in a stable relationship.
No, like I said, we were young, dumb, and both wanted to be right. And we were, what's that? Fit to fight or something. I know the term is really fit to... No, I know. Oh, no,
Fit to be tied?
Yeah. But no, we were like we were always gunning for a fight.
Especially near the end. You wanted to be right in all the arguments, and if I couldn't be right, then I needed to be stronger. It was always one-upmanship.
Move to the other corner.
Right.
Because I feel like it's a weird angle.
Oh. And in the times that I was right, sometimes you felt the need to be faster.
My stomach's making weird noises.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're processing stuff. Anyway, our first marriage definitely was not what it needed to be.
Right. Still not coming.
And unfortunately, our kids are definitely, especially our oldest, definitely remembers that.
Right.
Our middle kind of sort of remembers that, hence the reason why he acts like he does.
Whoa. He's getting mouthy too.
Yeah, that's kind of why he's not playing games right now. So if any of his friends are watching, you can thank him and tell him to calm that down.
Like I said, Lex has been quite mouthy. Connor's getting up there.
I don't mind them having their personalities, their thoughts, their feelings. That's important. But they need to understand. Just like all kids need to understand, we're their parents first. And though there's probably a lot of people who would disagree, parents first, friends third. And that second spot is for teaching, for guidance.
Yeah, but we're not your traditional parents either. Like, we're a little more lenient on the way they talk until it gets to be blatantly, like, disrespectful. Like, tonight, he was just blatantly disrespectful. This camera doesn't weigh a lot, but my God, my thumb's on fire.
Oh, well, that's also the hand that you're having your issues with.
Yeah, it is. Sorry, you can't be in the film unless you get up on the bed. Because I don't want to get off the bed. Anyway, so we're not like most parents, and to a certain degree, we're okay with the way they talk until it's just disrespectful. Or with, like, Lex, the F word was like every other word for her, so we got tired of that one.
We've cut people out of our lives because that was their common everyday thing.
We've definitely done a lot of, like, growing up and changing who we want in our lives and who should be there and who shows that they don't need to be there or they don't want to be there. And that's the thing, like, their grandfather did not show that he wanted to be there. So it was a mutual decision in my part on my...
He had the opportunity.
I feel like it was a mutual decision because he didn't try. And the one time he tried, he wanted to go 0 to 60. And when I said, no, I'm not sending my children to you so you could not send them back. And your wife has made threats to take my children.
In the past, but still.
I'm not putting them on a plane and sending them to where, if they need something, we're 7-8 hours away. And then he wanted nothing to do with the kids, period. No contact, everything was cut off.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it was mutual.
I think that was definitely a decision on his part. Their part. However you want to look at that. Whoa. Get here.
Oh. So, I don't know.
I want my kids to develop their personalities. Even though I know they're going to develop aspects of your personality. Poor bastard. I mean, you want the rest of this?
If you want to eat it, eat it.
I want them to develop into whoever it is they're going to be, because I think that's important. But at the same time, I think they need to understand their limits, their boundaries, and like I keep saying, and they keep telling them, choice comes with consequence. You make good choices, get good consequences. You make poor choices, you're going to get bad consequences.
Yeah, but you also do stuff that I don't. I don't agree with. Like, it's better. You've taught the kids that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree with that.
I don't know why. These are like freaking awesome.
There are some instances that I think that is a good policy. And not necessarily a lot of people agree with that.
I know.
I know.
Especially when it comes to me, because they do that.
They use it a bit more than what I do.
Bah.
I would rather err on the side of caution, and rather have you ticked off at me because I went too far with your safety. You know what I mean? Like if you fell in the bathtub or something like that, and you said, you're fine, give me a minute, something like that, I'd rather you get ticked off because I called an ambulance, and the house gets flooded with emergency workers who see you naked, and you get embarrassed because of that and don't talk to me for a week, than if something is actually wrong. Yeah?
That's how you know it's a bad phone.
Designed in California?
Yeah.
Yeah, most things that are created in California, you know. Were you born again? Anyway. So...
You were created in California. You were born in New Mexico, though.
I was created in Nevada.
Mm-mm.
Actually, there's no guarantees.
I'm playing with her new phone. She's still grounded right now.
Did you ask?
She put a code on it.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, never mind, I know it. Anyway, so the general consensus is we were talking about how Lex is going through things, and I hadn't really divulged it, and that, you know, we showed her that